one of the most obsessive, most determined fighters in the world. And by that, they mean focused on his weight. It's almost like a bodybuilder or somebody who has body dysmorphia who weighs everything, looks in the mirror, constantly weighing themselves, but he has to. Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going over Paddy Pimblett's diet. What does bro eat in a day? We've all seen him win his last UFC fight in a matter of seconds, and he seems to be taking his diet, his training, everything more seriously than ever before. He wants to be the champion, and so no longer is he going to gain 40 to 50 pounds after a fight and have to lose all that weight after. And so how does he make weight? How many calories eating? What's the cardio regimen? How exactly does he do it?
Everyone is always asking me, how do I lose weight? How do I do this? What's the trick? As I always say, there is no trick. It's just counting your calories and burning more calories than you actually eat.
At least he's making sense, more sense than most people. There is no trick. Count your calories and burn more calories than you take in. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. But what exactly does he do to make it that much more easy? If you're in fact hungry and you're a UFC fighter, is using Ozempic or Tirzepatide or frankly Retta, is that considering cheating? The answer is no. It's not banned, and so if Paddy wants to take every GLP in the world, and frankly, he could go to Al Gore RX, he could get his blood work done, he could purchase a GLP, he could do this and still pass the drug test. And so, do you know how easy it is to lose weight? Years ago, when there weren't all the peptides, the GLPs, then absolutely, they were starving, they were hungry, and some of them were smart enough to get my cookbook. But today, even without my cookbook, if you're on a GLP, frankly, it's easy. Every single day, I see fat women. I don't know why it's always women. Fat women, and they'll say, my before Ozempic, and here's my after. They'll show the before, and they'll show them the after. It's the same photo. They're saying, I'm not using Ozempic. Everyone is, but not me. And I'm thinking, why aren't you using it? You're fat. What's wrong with you? If Paddy needs to use Ozempic or Tirzepatide or whatever to help him stick to his diet in order to fight in the UFC, to me that's way better than seeing him turn into a fat piece of shit loser in the off-season and then have to lose 45 pounds in a matter of months to make weight. Do you know how unhealthy that is? And so I'd rather you use a GLP and stay healthy year-round than not.
Breakfast's always crunchy nut and a banana. Know exactly how many calories and everything and by weight and shit.
I mean, it's literally just some carbs put into a box, a lot of sugar, and some milk and a banana. Like, how much more simple could it get? And so the bottom line is, it's calories in, calories out. Whether he got this from cereal or whether he got it from oatmeal or something generally considered more healthy, perhaps some fruits and vegetables. I mean, he is eating a banana. It's all going to work. Now, he's got his fruit, the banana, he's got his carbs from the cereal, and he's got his protein from the milk. And so overall, it's not that bad of a meal, although I do think he needs more protein.
Most of the time I won't even eat breakfast, will I? I'll save myself for a bigger meal later on, so I'll go to the gym, I'll train, and then I'll eat.
And so that's a big mistake. He says most of the time I'm skipping breakfast and going to train. You do not want to do this. Saving up your calories to be eaten later in the day, that is a big no-no for most people. Now, can it work for him? Sure. If you're on a GLP, well, it probably doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
But what often happens is that hunger, because of the rise in ghrelin, it's going to make you hungrier later in the day and make it very difficult for you to stop eating. And so, yeah, you skip breakfast, you skip lunch, you're thinking, oh, wow, I can eat 2,000 calories tonight. And in 5 minutes, you've had 2,000 calories, and you keep eating until you're at 4. Not to mention, if you skip breakfast, that's your first opportunity for muscle protein synthesis to occur. You've now missed it. And many times people have less energy if they don't eat in the morning. For myself, for example, if I'm racing bikes first thing in the morning, I'm not as fast as if I were to race bikes later in the day. I need a few meals. My glycogen stores need to go up. With decreased glycogen stores, you have less energy, and with less energy, you cannot train as hard. And so for Paddy, I would strongly suggest he doesn't skip meal one, and he eats his cereal every single day.
When I had this flavour recently for the first time, this apple burst, it's absolutely delightful. Caffeine helps Caffeine helps a lot, lad.
And so he's adding to this an energy drink, the caffeine, that is also going to reduce his appetite, reduce his cravings, as well as give him more energy. I mean, do not all take in your Blue Lobster before going to hit your workout at the gym. The energy, the rush, the adrenaline, the dopamine, you're going to train harder, better, and if you stack this on for years, training harder than last time because of the caffeine, because of the stimulants, then those performance benefits are going to add up. They stack and compound year after year. If you don't need a pre-workout, if you can train with plenty of energy without it, then by all means. But remember, early in the day, this is a great time to be consuming caffeine as opposed to doing it later at night. If you're training later in the evening and you're consuming caffeine, this could negatively affect your sleep. And so why not do it earlier in the day? And clearly he's staying hydrated between rounds. He's always drinking water. The more water he drinks, the better. You might be thinking that fighters, that they try to reduce the water that they're consuming, that they're trying to make weight and so on, but that doesn't happen until 1 or 2 days before the fight. At this point, more water is going to improve his performance. And when you're even slightly dehydrated by even 2%, you have a dramatic decrease in your cardiovascular performance. And so it's imperative that he stays hydrated, that he consumes a lot of sodium. And so items like Pimblett, or even what you've seen, for example, that LMNT, for 99% of people, that is useless. All the added sodium that you're getting, it's not beneficial if you're already having a diet that's high in sodium. If you don't sweat a lot, if you're not doing hours a day of cardio and training, then those things, they don't benefit you. But for somebody like Paddy or Coach Greg, items like Pimblett or LMNT, or just taking in more sodium, it's very beneficial. If you're just an average person watching this video and you only train, let's say 6 or 7 days a week for like an hour and a half, it's totally useless. You don't need it. But if you're an advanced trainer and you're doing tons of cardio, especially in hot weather, and you notice that you sweat a lot, it could be a benefit to you.
You're constantly hungry at the stage of camp. You don't have a fucking, well, just let's say you don't have a cheat day, but I don't have a cheat day for 10 weeks.
And so he's saying, look, I'm very, very hungry. I haven't had a cheat day in 10 weeks. That makes me believe that he's not on a GLP. If he were taking Ozempic, tirzepatide, and Retta, most likely he wouldn't be feeling all that hungry. It essentially would get rid of the food noise, but perhaps he wants to do it without it. And remember, for a high-performance athlete, if you take too many of these drugs, it can reduce your cravings by so much that you perhaps would undereat, you would underfuel, and you wouldn't have the energy that you actually need.
I'll go and do 5 or 6 miles now, and then I'll get back, have a scan, get me massage, and then I'll get to chill for a little 3 hours.
And frankly, I'm actually surprised that they just go for jogs, for a run, if you will, in order to improve their cardio, because I feel that that is not very specific to their sport. For example, I'm a cyclist, but how much do you think that that is going to help me if I were in a UFC fight? Sure, I have great cardio on a bike, but the movements that you need, the endurance, it's completely different when you're fighting. And so I'm not certain that just going for a 5 or 6 mile jog is as beneficial as it could be. Perhaps an assault bike or various movements centered around training, what they actually have to perform in the gym. To me, that would make more sense, but I am not a fighting expert. I'll leave it to Paddy.
5 mile in the bag, 84 mile ran since last Saturday.
84 miles he's run since Sunday? I mean, to me, that sounds a bit ridiculous. Why are we running so much? Remember, when you give it your all in one thing, like you're going very, very hard running, you're going to have a decrease in performance somewhere else. You can't push yourself all out running and also boxing and grappling, everything, and expect to be able to recover.
I was a bit too slow there. I ended up speeding it up towards the end. I was doing 30-minute miles at first. My mouth was so dry, it's scary.
He was doing 30-minute miles at first. A 30-minute mile is like jogging at Mr. Mike's pace. Like, what are we even talking about? A fast walk, most people could do it in about 15 minutes. A 30-minute mile. Hopefully, it's my hearing aid isn't powerful enough, and he didn't say a 30-minute mile. He was saying a 13-minute mile, which is still absolutely pathetic. It's so slow. There's got to be something going on. I do not believe that Paddy is this slow. That would be absolutely embarrassing, pathetic, and there's no way his fitness is that bad.
Thought I was going to burn more than that, but what did I burn? 500 calories in 5 miles.
And so he says he ran 5 miles, which is approximately 500 calories. It is, in fact, more than that. That's an underestimation. 1 mile burns approximately 100 calories if you're walking. If you're running, it's about 110 calories. And that's for somebody who weighs 154 pounds. Seeing as he walks around at closer to 170 pounds, perhaps a little bit more, he's probably burning 600 calories in 5 miles. But hey, who's tracking? Well, I am and Paddy. And so you can see how easy it is to be inaccurate. This is one of the best fighters in the world. He's making millions of dollars fighting. He has coaches, trainers, he has everything at his disposal, and yet he still can't accurately track the calories he's consuming or burning off. And so everything, it ends up as being a guess. And so what do I suggest that you do? Well, absolutely track your calories, see what you're doing. But what really matters most is, what do you weigh? At the end of the day, are you gaining or losing weight? And so you weigh yourself each and every morning, the same morning, naked, whatever, and you take your median weight. Now, over the course of days, weeks, months, that median weight, it should generally be tracking down. Sometimes you're going to see some spikes. It's just like the stock market. It's not a big deal. You ate a little bit more, you're overly hydrated, perhaps you're dehydrated. They're going to see some ups and downs, but the general trend week to week is that weight should be going down. And if it's not, you need to make some changes. Perhaps add in a little bit more cardio or reduce your calories a little bit more. You may be tracking everything, but yet still be making some mistakes. I saw people going to the restaurants and tracking their calories, not realizing just how much butter was being used in the steaks, the vegetables, things like that they're eating. And so you might think, oh, this looks like a 600 calorie meal, but really it's 1,000 because you don't know how it's being prepared.
Teriyaki chicken and rice now. I like the teriyaki chicken and rice. I always eat the broccoli cold out of it, to be honest.
Next up, the teriyaki chicken and rice, perhaps a little bit of broccoli. You can see it's not a very large meal. This is a guy doing multiple hours of training each and every day, including tons of cardio, straight up running, jogging, and so on. And so he's most certainly in a huge deficit. That's going to result in a dramatic loss of pounds, but it also is going to zap his energy. He cannot train nearly as hard as he once did. When you're in your off season and you're eating plenty of food, you're obviously able to train harder, you can push yourself that much more, and you're going to improve your recovery. If your carbohydrate total is down, if your glycogen stores are not topped up, you're not going to have the same recovery as you could if you were eating more. And so he's trying to maximize everything. And so you can see he's got a massage. He most likely should be doing some ice water or cold water therapy. Perhaps also add to that some red light therapy. And all of this can add up to being perhaps 1 or 2% better on fight day, which is oftentimes all that you need.
But this one has more carbs, and so it's better for in the middle of the day than the one I have later, which will have less carbs.
And so you can see he's saying, I eat more carbs in the middle of the day than I do in the evening. During the day, he's still going to be doing cardio, still exercising. He needs to have that glycogen in order to push himself. But in the evening, before going to bed, why would he need carbs? Why would he need glycogen? He's trying to maximize the use of his carbs based on what he's doing that day. Before training, before doing his cardio, he's eating more carbs. Even after the cardio session, he's going to eat some carbs to replenish some of that glycogen. But later in the evening, before bed, he doesn't need the rices and the pastas. He's going to go more higher in protein.
Is so fixated on his weight and what his weight should be every day and how much he drops and all that sort of stuff. He's like literally hyper focused on it more than anyone else. It's kind of his superpower.
And so in just under 8 weeks, he completely transforms his physique. In his off season, he likes to eat a little bit more. This is not his normal body weight. This is not where his body wants to be. Personally, I think he could benefit from a GLP. It would allow him to stay a bit leaner in the off season. Perhaps take away those huge cravings for ice cream, pizza, candies, and so on, and make it easier for him to get within striking distance of his weight. They're describing him as one of the most obsessive, most determined fighters in the world. And by that, they mean focused on his weight. It's almost like a bodybuilder or somebody who has body dysmorphia who weighs everything, looks in the mirror, constantly weighing themselves, but he has to. This is his life. This is his career. If he were to fail making his weight, Imagine what that would do to him. And so he needs to be on point. The only thing I wish is if he could be a little bit closer to his fighting weight in the off season, because just imagine the suffering that he's doing for 8 weeks where he's not cheating on his diet, he's not adding in any calories, and he's suffering every single day.
Starter camp, I think I had 2 snacks. I had a little healthy cheesecake as well, but that got cut out.
And so you can see he's cut out most of the treats, the things that he likes to eat, even a healthy cheesecake. Well, that's been cut out. But Paddy, you probably are not familiar with my cookbook, but if you were, this could in fact change your life. You could eat the healthy cheesecake year round. You wouldn't have to cut it out, as these recipes, these meals are high in protein and much lower in calories. And so this is the end all be all diet. The best diet in the world, the best cookbook. And so if you're interested, code Greg for your discount. And of course, it makes no sense if any UFC fighter is not using Turk Builder Max, well as GO2 Max, GLP Max. I mean, consider this. You're going to have more muscle, more energy, more recovery. This is going to improve your cardio, and you're going to eat less food with GLP Max. And so how could you not be on this trio? If you're a serious UFC fighter and you're not using HGLT supplements, well, you're at a disadvantage.
I'll have my tea in a minute. Just get me cherry Coke Zero, put that in the freezer so it's nice and cold.
And so you don't have to cut out your sugar-free beverages, whether it's the Diet Pops or the Diet Kool-Aids or Diet whatever. You can keep drinking, and I would in fact urge you to continue to do so. You might be thinking, oh, I'm going to do better. I'm going to cut out Diet Pop. I'm going to drink plain water. That is not going to assist you in losing more weight. It's actually, for the most part, going to make it more difficult. Studies have shown that people who drink Diet Pop or non-nutritive sweetened beverages, they actually lose more weight and keep more of it off than people who don't. And so if you're a smart person and you want to keep the weight off, you probably should continue to drink your diet stuff. And so essentially he has 3 meals a day. He calls them breakfast, dinner, and tea. Tea being the biggest meal of the day. In Canada, we consider tea when you just drink like this little coffee. It's maybe that with some cookies or a snack, some crackers. But hey, everyone around the world does things differently. And so I would bet the tea is his favorite because he does like to eat a lot of food, but he says he likes them all the same.
First thing, my normal go-to after a weigh-in, obviously, get loads of water in you first.
Following the weigh-in, once he's made weight, remember that would be his weakest state. He wouldn't want to fight like that. The first thing he's doing is he's consuming a lot of water. It's water that's more important than food. You have to get your weight up. And so he's drinking a lot of water, and then he's following that up with some cereal, some crunchy carbs, just trying to get the sugar content up, trying to get his glycogen stores back to normal.
Normally end up having like a lot of rice, normally like pancakes and stuff like that, because again, carbs, get the sugar in you. I think that one time we went for a pasta for an Italian.
And so at that point, you're basically trying to increase your carbs. You don't need a lot of protein, you don't need a lot of fat because glycogen stores are coming from your carbs. And so he's going to eat a lot of carbs, whether it's from the cereals, the pancakes, whatever. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so the goal is to top up glycogen stores without having a pregnant belly and feeling sluggish from eating.
When I was a proper kid, I remember weighing in and going to me bag and pulling a bottle of chocolate milk out, and Paul Rimmer saying to me, what the fuck are you doing?
And so he describes a story of how he was throwing up on the platform from rehydrating with chocolate milk. This is not the fastest way to rehydrate. Think of the chocolate milk with the fats and the protein. You're trying to get mostly carbs. That is not it. A guy had 12 hours, and so you got to consume your water, and you need to have your carbs as well as your electrolytes.
These in this fight camp have saved me. I don't like Coke Zero or Pepsi Max or anything like that, but...
And so the Diet Coke, the cherry flavor, it saves him. It gives him that sweet, delicious beverage that replaces the candies and junk food that he can't be eating. And so if it's working for Paddy, most likely it could work for you. You don't have to cut out your 0-calorie sweet drinks.
I've got the best nutritionist, S&C coach, weight maker in the game, and his name's Paul Reed.
That may in fact be true. It is possible, but one thing Paddy doesn't consider is that he may also have one of the best genetics for being able to make weight in the world. If 100 people did exactly what Paddy's doing, most would fail. Most couldn't do it. And so just because he's able to make weight every single time, every single time from being a fatter man in the off season. It doesn't mean that that's ideal. It doesn't mean that that's what he should be doing. It means it works for him. In the same extent, just because Ronnie Coleman trained a certain way, or Dorian Yates trained a certain way, or even Mr. Mike trained a certain way, doesn't mean that you should try to train exactly like them. Every body is different. No two bodies are exactly like. And so just because it worked for Paddy doesn't mean it will work for you. And so Paddy, he can lose several pounds each and every week in order to make weight. Myself, I couldn't do it. There's no way. Does that mean that his methods are better than mine? No. It means that I don't function properly when I'm trying to lose weight that quickly. If I'm in a 2,000 calorie daily deficit, I don't function. Sure, I could burn off all those calories. I could ride for 4 hours on my bike, but I would have no energy. I would be barely able to turn the pedal, and I would feel like garbage. And so how would I be able to perform? Just because one way works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work the same way for someone else. Coaches, they need to realize this. If they have the same copy-paste formula for all of their athletes, hey, you're in bikini, figure, whatever, you eat this many calories and you do this much cardio. This is not how it works. Everybody is different.
This time I haven't got to make 155 to 156. You never know, I might only end up cutting 10 pounds here and then be getting back in the cage at 185.
Does anyone believe that? I know that you probably believe that. Like, you don't believe Coach Greg. You think that these guys know more than me about everything. Do you really think that he's 165? Okay, he's 165. Then he only has to cut 10 pounds to make 155. And so he's walking around at 165. He cuts weight, he's 155. And then in a day, he's 185 to fight. Why don't you just believe me and take my word and realize that growing up and realizing that Coach Greg was right all along? Paddy cannot walk around at 165 and then cut 10 pounds and then regain 30 in a day. Imagine, he put on 30 pounds in one day. He lost 10 and gained 30. That means he would have put on 20 more pounds than he's walking around. Where would it come from? I want you at some point in your life to weigh out what 30 pounds of food and or water looks like. If you're 155 and suddenly you're 185, 30 pounds minimum had to enter your mouth and go down your throat. There's no way around it. Add to that, you're probably peeing, you're probably going to poop. And so how much fluid would he have had to consume? 35, 40 pounds? Weigh out those pancakes. How many boxes of cereal is that? If a box of cereal is 1 pound, is he eating 20 boxes of cereal? Is he consuming 25,000 calories? I do not believe any of this bullshit. And so what I do believe is they want their fighters to think it. Hey, he's going to be 185 when he fights me. I'm scared. I'm only going to be 170, maybe 175 at best. And so I'm scared. And so what gives them a psychological advantage? To tell them, hey, I'm going to put on 30 pounds. He ain't putting on 30, probably putting on 15. And you heard it here first. Or perhaps last.
So if you want us to do one of these out of camp, I'll do one of these out of camp for you. Don't worry when we win this fight.
And so there you have it. You can believe me, you cannot believe me, you can take my advice, you cannot take it, but I gave it for you anyway. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo, go to Algorex and use code Greg. Don't forget to watch one of the 2 bloops. And of course, if you want to get HGLT supplements to your store, if you want to get coached by myself, or if you would like to be sponsored or an ambassador to all the HGLT supplements, you can click the link for that as well. And until next time, I am out.